Another day and some more progress. Skipped the gym at lunch today, although I'm still a little unsure if I'm ready to quite go back yet. But in any case, we got the screen up, more stuff going on. I'm going to spend tonight, hopefully by the end of the night tonight. I didn't make it last night, but hopefully tonight, actually have an image up, throw a game up there, throw a movie up there, and check it all out. So let's see how we do. All right, so a little bit more done. I put up all of the acoustic panels on the front wall, which will be behind the screen that I'm going to go ahead and mount. Basically was able to mostly surround each speaker as best I could. There wasn't enough clearance to put the same panels in between. They're 12-inch square, and I don't have 12 inches between the different sections. But I think that'll help to at least roll off or kill off some of the initial reflections coming right back out of a given speaker from the screen. I've got the curtains pulled back to do it. I just took some extra brackets and some other things that were behind the curtains down. That white line there is one of the tubes I was using for the height speaker wire. It's behind the curtain and inconsequential, and the last one I pulled off to put these leftmost fabric panels on actually tore up the drywall. I just cheaply kind of painted over it and stuck the panels over the spot, but I'm just gonna leave them. I'm not worried about it. They're behind the curtains and inconsequential. So I think that's all set. The two silver brackets up top, those are the mounting brackets for the screen. So that's ready to go. I did assemble the frame last night. There's the material itself. If I recall correctly, that was 163-inch, 235-1 Seymour fixed frame. It went together pretty easy, although they were supposed to include magnets for the bottom to snap onto the wall, and I didn't see the magnets in the box, so I'll have to find them. The screen just goes on with these O-rings in the blue bag there around all of those posts that line the screen frame. So we're real close. I'm gonna put this material on, cinch it in, tighten it up, and then we'll be hanging the screen after I re-Velcro the curtains, of course. So that screen's gonna go pretty much from the corner trap all the way over to the corner trap. It's gonna be awesome. And then I can roll the rug out, clean up some stuff, and maybe we'll be watching a movie tonight or tomorrow. Break this whole thing in. Pretty awesome. And the screen is up. Just disappearing, even with the lights on, into that sea of black all around it. So wide. A little better view on this side. So this was a simple O-ring kind of install. Just laid the frame down, face down, unrolled the screen, and I don't even know how many there were, probably 40 little rubber bands that hold it in. Seymour AV. I actually got lucky. I didn't pay attention that there was a badge on the front bottom corner, although I think I might just take that badge off. We'll see, but there's really no top or bottom or left or right in any of the, other than a front and a back. That's all there was labeled on the material. So pretty straightforward installation, although I need those magnets. Here's why you want magnets, because otherwise your screen flaps. You get a little base in here, big base in here, that's gonna be shaken, but with the magnets holding the frame on the bottom to the lumber, it would lock it down. It's not gonna go anywhere. One of the things I wanna toss out there, a mistake that I made over the last couple days is, especially after coming off of being sick, COVID or not, still TBD on that, but is cutting drywall and breathing the drywall dust over the last few days, painting, and then spraying this stuff, this 3M Super 77 spray adhesive. I should have been wearing masks for all of that. So definitely protect yourself. Eye protection when you need it. Put a mask on for all these fumes and all this particulates and stuff. I feel like I've been coughing this Super 77 out for the last day and a half. So I definitely needed a mask. So we're jump cutting ahead from last night to this afternoon lunchtime, and I did quite a lot last night, but in the interest of wanting to get stuff done and have an image and have some audio playing in the room, I didn't record as much. So we'll talk a little bit about what happened kind of in the interim. But suffice to say, last night I was playing some movie clips, I was playing some games, and this is pretty sweet. So let's talk about where we're at. So through the course of last night, I was able to fully get everything cleaned up. There's no more tools, debris, construction pieces, and whatnot in here. It's a usable space. So I'm hoping maybe even tonight we sit down and watch a movie. However, I'm only running 7.0.0. There's no subwoofers yet, and there's no Atmos speakers in the ceiling. We'll get into that on kind of the next steps. But for what we have a functional room. So I did lay the carpet out, that I think it was 8 by 11 black, really thick, shaggy rug from rugs.com. Kind of makes that sea of black space. Again, I didn't go wall to wall with it, but it's accomplishing what I'm looking for. It's very plush, very soft. It'll be nice to sit down, or kids could lay down on the floor there. It's phenomenal having nothing in front of the screen. Although ultimately I will probably add some subwoofers back in front, but they'll be black. They'll be down below the screen there, probably here and maybe here, and they'll disappear into that connected sea of black. You can't even see the white trim anymore at the bottom there. It flows really well. But so the rug's looking good. Total black on that front wall. The scope screen is up and looking great. So I didn't put the speaker covers on. The Focal 1000 series speaker covers all come white. I wasn't sure about putting the white ones on. I probably should just put them on for some dust covering or whatever, but I will be spray painting those black, matte black spray paint. Unfortunately, it's wintertime, so it's not easy to just go outside in the driveway and just spray them all down outside with full ventilation and so on. I've done some projects in the past where I've spray painted things. We did it in the cold, and then the paint like cracked. It didn't dry properly. So, but I'll get those done sometime soon here. So as of last night, again, these 7 speakers are running. The projector is running. I did fire up the projector, and I did a bunch of setup. So I did a variety of setup in terms of adjusting, focus, shift, and zoom for the 16 by 9 image. Everything's pretty well level. I had to do a little bit of rotational adjustment, just a couple of degrees to get everything lined up. But the grid lines of the JVC-NX were sitting very nicely flush, top and bottom with the screen and so on. And I copied everything over to a second installation mode. I'll go into really much more detail on this in future series of videos, particularly after I get the rest of the stuff in the space done. But suffice it to say, for right now, I've got 2 installation modes set up. One I'm calling normal for 16 by 9 content or 4:3 content and such, and one I'm calling wide, which allowed me to fully zoom in as much throw distance as I had anyway. I'm not filling the screen with ultra wide screen image. I've got actually a fairly decent amount of blank space around it. Need that NX9 in the bigger lens. But I'm still getting almost a 2-foot wider scope image than the 16 by 9 image at real close to the same height. So I set up the second installation mode for wide, program that up in the Control 4. So on my Neo, I can jump in and just one button press to go from 16 by 9 to scope aspect ratios. I experimented with that on the Apple TV, worked awesome. Then I went to the Kaleidescape, and man, the combination of the JVC, the Kaleidescape Control 4, and a scope screen is just perfect. They have the programming cues built in to the Kaleidescape player itself, and literally it's just a matter of going in and basically saying, for this type of aspect ratio content, run a couple lines of customized code to put the projector in a specific installation mode. It works seamlessly. I'll record that and show that in detail in a demo in a future video, but I'm just ecstatic. It's really, really good. And so I also experimented with the PC, particularly with God of War. The Sony game just came out a week or so ago on Steam on the PC, and I had read that it supports 21:9 aspect ratios within a 16:9 image, which is just exactly the same as using the scope screen for a movie. And so I was playing around with that. I want to show that separately as well. But oh my gosh, scope gaming. I've never really experienced scope gaming before. I've never had an ultra wide screen of any type. But having a video game up in 21:9 aspect ratio, still at a very nice big height projected image, it was just phenomenal. Flipping back to 16:9 felt cramped. It felt like a very limited, tight FOV. But going to scope, this is going to be a really big reason why I think I might go ahead and fully commit myself to PC gaming, because you just really can't do that with a console. So I really want to show that off. It was phenomenal. Seeing scope imagery up on the screen. One of my goals here was to really push forward the cinematic experience of using our space. Going scope is a big part of that. Mission accomplished on that respect. So I also went ahead and just did a real, not quick and dirty, but I did a basic, say, Anthem Arc calibration to have that set. I set all the speaker distances with my laser tool, and then just ran the 7.0.0 arc config. And so I want to get into that as well. I'll break down arc and such in separate videos. I really like using the Anthem. Arc looks great. If you trust what it showed in terms of measured curve relative to target curve relative to achieved adjusted curve, it's like spot on. It did such a phenomenal job. The proof will be in the pudding, so to speak, to sit down and here, play a movie as is and see how it goes. Now, we did have the theater set up for a little while, and we watched a couple movies with the 7.0.4 config using the Electra towers. And I'll say that those towers can kick out bass. I ran arc on them, and they can kick bass down close to 20 hertz into the low 20s respectively. These 1000 IW LCR6s really can't do that quite the same. There was still bass impact when we didn't have subs, but we had the towers with no subs and the in-wall set like this. It doesn't have quite the bass impact. I played some demo material, some Thunderstorm, like the Dolby Amaze demos and such, while I was setting up the PC for the space and so on. They leave a lot to be desired. I need subwoofers, and I need them fast. So that's going to be jumping up very, very tangibly in my next things to do, is get some subwoofers ordered that are not going to take months to get, and get them in here, get the right ones in the space, the right height, the right color, and so on to fit this front wall, disappear, and perform the way that I want them to. Other than clean up last night, I didn't have to do too much in the rack. I did make sure that my triggering and any other Anthem configuration was set the way it's supposed to be. You can see it's on right now. This is the Zone 2. So here's the greatness of the multi-zone, right? We're running Zone 2, Apple TV, wife and kids are playing music upstairs. The Triad rack amps for the living room subwoofers are on. The A31 is off, and the A52s are on, using one channel per for the left and right mains up in the living room. I've got most things cleaned up. I went through some of my wiring, and I love these bins. This is like my home theater section here, an AV gaming computing section of our storage room. Got one bin full of wires, so I went through that, cleaned it up a little bit. I got to go through my second bin of miscellaneous parts and still do a little more organization and elimination of things that I won't need anymore. But this room is good to go. My grommets also did come from Amazon, the little rubber grommets. So I did what I mentioned. I basically slid a line to be able to wrap them around the wire and stuck them into the holes there. Unfortunately, I didn't cut all of my little 1-inch pass-throughs so cleanly. This one's pretty clean, but some of the other ones, you can see the white drywall, but who cares? I like having the grommet. It's a little bit cleaner, but again, it's all behind the curtains. So just like magic, it disappears. All right, so what's next? Let's see. Like I mentioned, I got to paint these grills, get these grills black and get these grills on. I do kind of almost like leaving the speakers exposed, but I wanted a more integrated space. I wanted a cleaner space, and I don't think leaving it open fits that plan. So I'll paint those up, get those on. I'm waiting for two 2-foot square diffusion 2-inch thick foam panels from GIK to come. One will go above that back right speaker and one above the back left speaker. I didn't bother patching the holes where the height mounting brackets were because I'm just going to stick the foam panel right over top of them. Those are in production and hopefully won't be too long before they're going to be here. I might actually go ahead and buy 2 more of them and basically put one above and kind of one below the speaker, occupy that wall space and add a little more kind of diffusion / minimal absorption to the back wall. So that needs to go up, and then we need to get it active here on the ceiling. So my plan, if I go square myself up here to the main seating position, which is right in that crack, going up to the ceiling, we'll have a little bit further back maybe than those recessed lights on the left, about here, and then on the right about here. We'll have 2 of the ICW 6 Atmos, and then we'll move them up. So those will be the top rears, and then we'll have top fronts a little further out in these positions. I need to do my planning, figure out the drywall or the floor joist channels where those speakers are going to fit in, and then the wire will run through the joists into the storage room. I'll cut some extra access holes to fish the wire through. Thankfully, I'll have to cut 4 holes, but there'll be 2 speakers in each channel. When I fish the wire, I'll only have to technically fish 2 times to get all 4 wires pulled. I would like to get those in sooner than later. Problem is I need to bring a big ladder in here in order to get up to the ceiling. That's an 11-foot ceiling in our basement. It's pretty tall. We did the regular, poured foundation and then 2 layers of cinder block on top of that. And the couch is like right there in the way. So I don't know what I'm going to do exactly. I've still got a little bit of the hankering to get the theater seats, but I'm also feeling maybe a little bit of a nudge to wait on that, save some money, do that a little bit later. It would make awesome sense to get the chairs, move the couch out, and while the couch is out, before we bring the chairs in, then do the ceiling work to put everything up and get everything up there while we have better access and the stuff is out of the way. This couch is big and heavy, sectional. The IKEA people put it together. I didn't even do it myself, so I'm not even sure where it's bolted. I'll have to figure that out anyway, whether I move it just to put the ceiling stuff in or we move it out of here. But I want to get that going. I'm going to get the spray paint for the grid fusers should be here, I think maybe today or tomorrow, and I'll start getting those painted and ready to go. So again, I want to get access to the ceiling one day, get the speakers in, get the panels up, and be done with the ceiling. And that will be all set. We need to get the subwoofers ordered. The screen is still floating on the bottom, but I did order some little round screw-in magnets from Amazon. Those are supposed to be here today. We'll get that cinched down and the screen will get locked into position. And that might be it after that. I want to get into some more stuff as well. I'm probably going to buy a colorimeter so that I can do the JVC auto color calibration for the projector and get that set. I have to say that projecting on here and even zooming up the scope size screen relative to how much of the screen I'm filling anyway, I didn't feel any problem with projector brightness. I went into the settings and I made the tweaks from the Stewart screen in the JVC Theater Optimizer to the Seymour screen, changed the code, changed the brightness and the sizing and that sort of stuff. I did change my Theater Optimizer setting from medium to high, and that recovered a lot more brightness. It might blow out some highlights in certain films at certain times, but I think I might leave it that way for now. Overall, that was making a brighter, more impactful picture. But I had no problems with this screen whatsoever. I wasn't noticing weave from the seating position. I thought it looked phenomenal. It looked punchy, it looked colorful, it looked bright, darks looked dark, and so I'm really happy with the way that worked out. So that's it for this one. I'm gonna keep there's a lot more to do, so the installation vlogs will keep coming. Please like and subscribe and look down in the description below for some ways to potentially support the channel. We're gonna have content for months out of this. Even once all of the installation and all of the bits and pieces are in, there's a whole lot to talk about in terms of actually using the space, calibrating, proper settings and adjustments and tweaks and all that sort of thing. So stick with me, please subscribe. Lots more coming soon. Thanks.